People get comfortable driving the roads that they mostly drive on. So when we talk about Tasman, the main arterial rural roads, the highways that connect us into Nelson or down towards Wakefield or out towards Motueka, people are comfortable, they're used to those speeds, they're used to a flow, and they get more confident. And the more confident you get, sometimes you then increase your speed. Yeah, some people get slack, or when you're comfortable you start to get distracted by things, and that brings in some other dangers that we focus on as well. Distraction accompanied by speed, especially around intersections and that sort of thing, it just adds to the what could go wrong.
So I guess from a Tasman District Council perspective and a Regional Transport Committee perspective, a partnership addressing harm on our roads is significant. So I guess we all know there's many causes of crashes around our districts, and there's many debates over speed limits and speeds on our rural roads, but I guess one thing we can't escape is that speed is a contributing factor that it greatly enhances harm to anyone who's involved in a crash. So we can't get away from the absolute fact that the faster we go and impact in a crash, the more devastation is going to be caused. So, you know, I guess we just reach out to the community going, let's look after ourselves, let's respect each other on the road, let's drive to the road conditions and the speed limits, and just recognising if you're one of those slower drivers, perhaps pull over and let other drivers pass, but you can't come away from the faster we go, the bigger the impact, the bigger the harm.
The car that I used to drive on when I first started to drive, the cars these days have changed dramatically. One thing that hasn't changed is that whereas cars are safer these days in a crash, the human body isn't and never will be. There's a perception that the longer you've been a driver, or even some people even shorten their driving career, believe they are very good drivers. And with that perception becomes, well, I can just push it a little bit more and go a little bit faster. But what happens is, and you don't realise it, you're increasing your chance to crash. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, could be sometime in the next year. And if you do crash, there's going to be a very high chance at those higher speeds you're going to either seriously injure yourself or someone else, or you're going to die.
Travelling at a reduced speed creates the opportunity to react when something unexpected happens, whether it's stock movements on the road, someone pulls out of a driveway quickly, children and cyclists are on the side of the road. It gives you that chance to react. The main thing about reducing speed on roads is to make sure that everybody gets home safe, and by taking an extra couple of minutes to get somewhere, those that love you would rather see you home than there sooner.
Speed is responsible for 75% of death and serious injuries nationally, and those figures are replicated in Tasman District. And so it's one of the main focuses for us in our road policing. We know that people still speed or operate on a tolerance above a speed limit, and we don't want that to happen, because we know that for every kilometre you go over 80, 90 or 100 kilometres per hour, exponentially increases your chance of crashing, and if you do crash, it increases your chance of either being killed or seriously injured.
I think it would be worth dispelling the myth that any of our roads are safe. In reality, I would consider and recommend people judge and use our roads as if they're all unsafe. Safety is created by the actions of people. You know, that means you don't have to drive to the number on the speed limit sign. You need to drive to the conditions. You need to expect other people to make mistakes. You should basically treat every other vehicle on the road as if it is a missile, you know, trying to seek you out. You know, drive defensively. You know, I have teenagers now, and I think about how I should be teaching them to drive, and the importance of what driving defensively really means. It means allowing for others' mistakes. Most of the crashes that occur on our local road network are simply human errors, and they have a massive impact on people.
Most of the time when people give us an excuse as to why they're speeding, they're just trying to get somewhere. Yet all our studies, and people just know this themselves, that when they actually get to that point, and most people around Tasman aren't going that far, is that they probably save 45 seconds or 5 minutes, and it's just not worth the risk that I've spoken about in terms of what could happen if you speed.
There's no real patterns to the crashes on our roads. When we had, higher crash numbers in the bad old days in the 70s and 80s and even into the 90s, we used to have what we call black spots. And those are places on the road that seem to attract crashes. And those were identified and those were treated. And now we have quite dispersed crashes. That makes it really hard to predict where the crashes would be. I mean, we have data that shows the roads where there is more traffic have more crashes, so you've got to be aware of that. But honestly, it's like lightning. A crash can strike anywhere, and it's usually when people least expect it.